Hi guys, I'm Isaac and I chose GoPro as my public company to analyze for this semester project. So a little background on GoPro. They are a public company who operates in the technology and videography industry. You guys are probably pretty familiar with their little portable cameras that they sell that are very durable and used by athletes and others. And their mission statement is to help you capture life as you live it, share the experience, and pass on the stoke. And so GoPro specializes in the production of handheld videography equipment that is used by athletes, travelers, and photographers. I have a GoPro. I don't use it a whole lot, but it's good for some things like when I'm sailing or skateboarding. And their product lines include the Hero Series line of cameras, which is probably their most popular, or is their most popular, a series of protective cases, and a variety of mounts. And GoPro was founded in 2002 by Nick Woodman. He's an outdoor enthusiast, and he's the current CEO now, and he was kind of struggled with the idea of not being able to bring his film camera out on adventures with him while he's hiking and stuff because of the weather and a bunch of other stuff. So his mission was to create an inexpensive, durable camera that could be used anywhere. And after 2 years of research and development, he produced his first camera and sold it, which ran on 35 millimeter film. In 2006, he made the leap to the digital format. And in 2006, digital was not very refined, so the digital format remained kind of obsolete for a few years following. Leading up to 2014, they released their first wide angle lens. This is like the peak of GoPro, which was huge, right? It gave an incredible improvement to the field of view that they had on the original camera system. And they saw this as a huge opportunity for growth because demand would increase because they already had a super popular camera that now had a much wider lens. People could use it for much more functionality stuff. So they took this opportunity and took on 500 new employees and appointed the former Microsoft executive Tony Bates as the president and the president of GoPro, and filed their initial public offering. So they became a public company in 2014. And then everything kind of started to trickle, but GoPro still hoped to make a sizable impact on the field of videography with their live streaming partnership with Periscope, which was pretty big back in 2015, 2016. But sales began to move towards unsatisfactory levels. And by that point, in the first quarter of 2016, they laid off over 800 employees, which is almost what their employee base is right now, which is pretty incredible. And that's from first quarter 2016 to the fourth quarter of 2018. So that was a very fast decline for them. And in all of that, Tony Bates ended up stepping down from the president. And that was when they tried to move towards a multi-divisional structure, which we'll get to here in a second, but didn't end up working. But despite suffering major financial losses, the company remained on the leading edge of wearable cameras. Since their inception, GoPro has accumulated ownership of a few smaller companies like Cineform, Color, Stupaflix, and Vemory, which is like a cloud storage thing they use for their social media platform, their GoPro social media platform. Moving into strategic issues, GoPro runs on a functional strategic approach. They do now, and that's how they started as they started to build momentum. And it worked great for them at the beginning because GoPro was the most advanced technology in the videography industry. And so it was kind of a blue ocean environment for them. They were able to really exploit their innovative tendencies and be able to carve out their own niche in the market. And they tried to move to a multi-divisional structure in 2014, but it failed due to overly exhausted resources. So what that did to them is the company recognized that 50% of their GoPro app users are using older generation products. And this is happening because the GoPros have a very long life to them. Like I have a GoPro 3 and I still use it. I mean, a GoPro 8 would be nice, but I'm chilling just fine. So the company hoped to drive upgrades that push sales, but it was a victim of its own success. The older models have a significant product lifespan, and the company has attempted to remedy this by introducing a trade-in scheme. So you could trade in like your old GoPro for a new GoPro, but it wasn't incredibly popular. It introduced a lower price discount on GoPro Heroes and slash prices on older models, because there's a lot of functionality that shares in between models. It wasn't huge for them because the difference in from the old model to the new model wasn't great enough for customers to really jump on that. But even though camera sales have been in decline because of smartphones, especially, it largely wiped out the casual purchases of cameras. So GoPro's ability to capture the action camera market initially was good because they were able to carve out a niche, but the market has a ceiling, just like most markets, but this one especially because smartphones really came into the portable camera market. And so the company's success attracted competitors into the niche, which were big smartphone companies and anybody who could really produce a small, durable camera. So GoPro attempted to diversify its product, launching the GoPro Karma drone, which is like an aerial drone. But it didn't. That also didn't work. It was withdrawn in 2017, and they actually cut their whole aerial workforce in 2018, which cut 20% of their workforce, which was pretty big for them, but it cut costs. So marginally, they were doing better. And so moving into their financial analysis, their stock price was astronaut. It was great in 2014. But since then it's dropped 95%, which is pretty crazy. A lot of that was because of the coronavirus. It cut in half. It was at 680 something a few weeks ago. Now it's at $3.52, but it's still down from its high. You can see there at $86.97. So that was tough. And they were stoked. Their initial valuation at the stock in 2014 was gigantic, but market turned against GoPro and it's fallen almost 95%. GoPro is currently operating with 926 employees, and that's at the end of the 2019 financial year. The revenue in 2019 was 1.19 billion, which is up substantially a little bit from 2018. And they found ways to minimize costs within their chain and also increase the perceived value of their camera equipment because they've been integrating much better image stabilization, which came out in the last year or two. And so in 2019, GoPro managed to hold on to $412 million in gross profit, which was up 14% from 2018. And this is in part from the reduction of resources to R&D. They cut their R&D research by 47% since 2017, which gives me a pretty good assumption that they're in the maturity state of their business life cycle. So my recommendations to them, to GoPro, is that the options that GoPro has to its disposal, since they're in the maturity state of the business life cycle, which is you're after shakeout and you're starting to lose momentum in the market because everybody's become very familiar with the products and they're not necessarily shiny and new anymore. That they need to start pushing out cash cows, which they have done a little bit, but some of them haven't worked, and I think there's some reasoning behind that. So I think the options that GoPro has to its disposal during this decline in their life cycle in regard to cash cows is limited. However, at this point in time, GoPro maintains the highest performing pocketable camera on the market and have the liquid assets to pursue complementary alternative products. So as of today, GoPro has a line of hardware accessories compatible with multiple lines of handheld cameras. These include carrying straps, mounts, waterproof cases, etc. So what I'm suggesting, because I'm a big camera guy, or at least I like to think I am, an internally manufactured GoPro gimbal. So all the gimbals that are being made right now are being made by third parties. And GoPro already utilizes image stabilization software in the cameras to smooth out bumps and jitters in the camera frame of view. But the software is not enough to satisfy the needs of all their consumers, because a lot of people do snowboarding or surfing, and that gives you a really shaky movement in your camera. And yeah, as of right now, everybody uses an authentic GoPro device, uses a third-party gyroscope with non-native software. So it's a little bit more troublesome syncing it up, and there's also some smooth things you could do if they were able to produce their own. So my recommendation is that they could yield additional sales through a truly complementary device, which would develop a 3-axis gyroscope and native software that syncs seamlessly to the device and to external devices. This would not only allow for GoPro to generate another related stream of income, but it would also use their flagship device, which is incredibly popular even in today's day and age, to carry them much deeper into the optical stabilization industry, which is a much smaller niche industry off of the videography industry. My second option for a cash cow would be interchangeable lenses. So out of the box, GoPro comes with a standard fixed non-interchangeable lens, which is made for one frame of view that the operator can use to capture content. And it wasn't until a smaller third-party company called Backbone developed a do-it-yourself GoPro mount compatible lens with different focal lenses. So they essentially 3D printed and then machine printed. They have 2 versions that you can buy that come with other mounts. And the business operation of Backbone is much earlier in the life cycle, which has been identified because of their high product costs and limited distribution, which raises a huge opportunity for GoPro to develop its own interchangeable lens, which mounts with mounts they can sell separate or together, to combine consumer costs, which would also bring in a stream of revenue, because they're selling 2.4 million GoPros every year, and having an interchangeable lens that is GoPro branded would be incredibly valuable to them, because one, there's only one other company out there doing it, and the prices that they're charging for it, because their level of production is much smaller than what GoPro is able to handle, increases costs, which go straight to the consumer. So if GoPro could provide a competitive product for a lower price point, they would get a incredible cost leadership position in the market. And that is my recommendation for GoPro. I hope you guys liked what I have to say about it, and thank you. Had a good semester.